Disturbing visuals from Nepal show us that the country is burning. People have taken over the streets and they are particularly targeting government buildings and government officials. Welcome to Drishti IAS. My name is Saloni Nankyoliar, and in this video we will understand the reasons behind this unrest in Nepal. So what Nepal is witnessing right now can be termed as a Gen Z revolution because these protests are being led by Gen Z leaders, and the immediate cause behind these protests is the complete ban that the Nepali government has placed on 26 major social media platforms. Major platforms like your Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, all these were banned overnight. Now, can you imagine your life without these social media websites? No, right? Because A, they are a mode of entertainment, but not just that. They are also a way of keeping us close to our loved ones, to our family members, people who do not stay close to us. We can be connected to them through these social media websites. So can you imagine the situation of Nepali citizens when immediately overnight these 26 social media platforms were banned? Naturally, this was not received well by these people, and that turned into violent protests and clashes, curfews, and also airport disruption. So all these things happened, so much so that around 19 people have been officially reported dead. Now this is the official figure. Unofficial figure can definitely be higher, but 19 people unfortunately have died and hundreds have been injured. Also, there's huge political instability in the country where major cabinet ministers, they have resigned and fled the country. In fact, the Prime Minister of Nepal has also resigned. So right now, the country is leaderless. There is huge political instability and the youth is unhappy. Now, why is the youth unhappy? Is it only because of the banning of these social media websites? No, this was only one major trigger. But just like any major revolt, there is a trigger, but there are many underlying causes also. Just like we saw in the revolt of 1857, there was one major trigger, immediate trigger, that was the use of animal fat in cartridges. But that was not the only reason. There were many underlying socio-political and economic challenges that the country was facing. And then one day, everything just piled up and the volcano erupted. So similarly, to understand what happened in Nepal, we'll have to look at the background of the movement. So the background, it goes back to decades ago, where in 1951, Nepal had its first experience with democracy, where the Rana regime, this was overthrown, and an elected government came into picture. But this was very short-lived. But the Rana regime was overthrown in 1951. Then Nepal witnessed two major Jan Andolans. The first Jan Andolan in 1990 and the second Andolan in 2006. In 1990, the king was forced to accept constitutional monarchy and a multi-party democracy. In fact, a constitution was also adopted in 1990. A new constitution was adopted in 1990 and fundamental rights were guaranteed to Nepali citizens. Then the second Jan Andolan happened in 2006 where massive protests happened and King Gyanendra, he was forced to step down and democracy was reinstated and the parliament was also reinstated. So there has been a series of these political unrests in Nepal. And finally in 2008, monarchy was abolished. So there has been huge political unrest, but since 2008 to 2024, in the last 16 years, there have been some 12 plus prime ministers in the country, which means that no government has been able to complete its full tenure of 5 years. This is the situation in Nepal. This has been the political situation in Nepal, and naturally, this is a very chaotic situation to be in. So the first reason behind this unrest was political instability. Next reason was about the ethnic discontent. Why? Because the constitution of 2015 was not liked by the tribal areas, by the tribal people, that Madhesis, tribes such as Madhesis, Tharus, and other Janjatis also, they protested against it. So the ethnic groups were also unhappy. They have been unhappy for a very long time in Nepal. Political instability has been there. These ethnic groups have also been unhappy. And the most important reason has been the discontent of the youth. So why is the youth unhappy in Nepal? Youth is unhappy because of corruption and huge unemployment and the poor economic situation of Nepal. In fact, there has been some anti-nepotism movement also that has been ongoing in Nepal. The Nepali youth, it feels that these people, the kids of these influential people, they're living a very luxurious life, and these people, the basic youth of Nepal, they are still struggling to find good jobs. The unemployment rate in Nepal, the average unemployment rate is 12.6% according to the latest official data of Nepal, and the youth unemployment rate is as high as 22.7%. And this has led to a large-scale migration from Nepal, where people are moving out of Nepal to find better jobs, but outside also they are able to get only menial jobs. So the youth has been very unhappy with all these situations, with the high level of corruption among political leaders of Nepal, among the influential people of Nepal, and the nepotism which has been ongoing in Nepal, and the high unemployment rates of Nepal, as well as the poor economic situations of the country. All these things piled up together, and then finally one day they busted out, and they resulted in these violent clashes and huge protests which are being led by Gen Z leaders. And this protest has a major regional impact also. First and foremost, it has an impact on India, because Nepal is a very close neighbor of India, and any unrest that happens in Nepal is going to directly influence India also, because the citizens who go to Nepal for tourists for tourism, they are also under threat right now, and the Indian diaspora who's living in Nepal, that is also under threat. So we might have to come up with some evacuation plans or rehabilitation situations if the situation worsens even more. So our diaspora is also under threat. Then the trade also gets disrupted because the country is burning. How is the trade going to happen? Economic situations get worsened. So these things also are directly impacted whenever a country is under such huge unrest. In fact, this situation has garnered international importance, international dominance, because all these media houses from across the world, across South Asia also, are covering the situation, and everybody has their eyes on the situation in Nepal. China is also closely monitoring the situation, and India's foreign ministry is of course monitoring the situation very closely. So the regional impact is also huge. But what is our road ahead? The road ahead is that the government and protesters, they have a mediated dialogue. They come together, they listen at each other's grievances, and then finally a way forward can be put into picture. So they need to have, first and foremost, they need to have dialogues, some proper peace dialogues. And secondly, because the country is leaderless right now, so these movements are even more aggravating. So the country needs to have a smooth transition in government. There needs to be a leader right now. Some youth people are emerging, but there needs to be a proper instated leader right now in Nepal, and peace talks need to happen. So that was all for today's video. We understood the background of the movement, and now we can only hope that the situation improves for the best, and not any more lives are lost, and no more people are more injured. So that was all. Now let us practice a question for prelims. In newly formed democracies, which one of the following is the most important foundation for long-term political stability? A. Strong and independent institutions. B. Frequent street protests. C. Rapid change in leadership. Or D. Military involvement in governance. Choose the correct option. Please provide your answers in the comment section, and we will meet in our next video.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.